Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob Mandel. I'm the advocacy manager for the San Diego County Bicycle Coalition. This month is Encourager Month, where we're interviewing members of the community and asking them how did they get encouraged to start riding a bike. So today, I'm really excited to introduce our guest, Nicole. How are you?
Hi, great, thank you.
Thanks for being here. Just to introduce Nicole, Nicole is a passionate bike advocate that enjoys every aspect of riding a bike, near and far. She began and led a successful bike train with her children and other families for 6 years and continues to be an advocate for the youth, healthy lifestyles, and inspiring others to find the joys of riding a bike for transportation. So, Nicole, thank you so much for joining us here today. We really appreciate it. You're such an amazing advocate for bike riding in San Diego, so it's really great to be able to speak to you. My first question for you today is, who first encouraged you to ride a bike? How did you get into riding a bike?
I've been riding my bike since I was a kid and loved it. My brother, he got a tandem for his 16th birthday. He got a car as well, but he got a tandem, and I lived in Bonita, and we would ride to National City to visit our cousins. So, just exploring Bonita, Chula Vista, National City, Southwestern College, all the places along the coast, just on this tandem with my brother leading the way, was probably my first real getting out there on riding. Lately, though, in the last 10 years, fast forward 20, 30 years, kind of got into the car mentality, mom lifestyle, and kind of forgot about my bike. And it wasn't until my kids turned out 10, and then they were my inspiration to ride. And as mentioned, I started a bike train. So when my kids were 10, 11 years old, they start fifth grade in Point Loma, and the school was just a little too far to walk every day. So I said, let's get on a bike and ride our bikes to school. And sure enough, get a couple friends and a couple parents. And we had a bike train of 20 plus people, kids of 10, 11 years old, riding every day to and from school. And that really was the premises of my bike advocacy in the region and today.
That's amazing. So could you maybe just go into a little bit, just for anybody who's watching that may not understand what a bike train is, and just sort of explain what is a bike train?
Sure. It literally is, how many cabooses can you get? How many riders can you get? 2, 3 to 20. You have the front, of the train, the bike train. You stay as together in a pack and you ride together safely. You're more visible as the longer your train is, the more people you have, the safer you are. You always want to keep your eye on that back caboose because you're only as fast as that one in the back. So really just staying together and enjoying the company of socializing, not unlike a regular train where they're all connected. You have the flexibility and you can ride a little faster with the leader, or you can ride a little slower at the end and with your kids. And it was just a great kind of wish there were more of them. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That must be amazing. So that kind of leads me to the next question is, you mentioned your children, but who else or what else encourages you to ride a bike today?
Well, that was a kind of an interesting question, right? Like, it used to be just like goal setting, like, okay, I'm just going to try to ride my bike more than I drive my car. That's where it started. And then now it's me, it's addicting. It's Mother Nature. It's the bike itself inspires me to ride because that's what brings me so much joy and releases my stress and allows me to be healthier every day. I will say during COVID, I haven't had a need to ride. And so it's what's that inspiration to ride? That purpose. Where am I need to go? Where do I need to go? The grocery store, the store with my kid, school with my kids, a meeting. Those are all virtual now. So, how had I rather had this opportunity to ride down for this interview, it would have been lovely. But so it's really about having that purpose for me because I'm so addicted to it already that just give me a reason to ride, and I will.
Yeah, it's funny is that I would say for myself too, getting on my bike is what encourages me to continue riding. I take my bike out of my bike parking and I get on the street and I start riding, and it's just, I'm like, why wasn't I doing this, 2 hours ago? Yeah, but why haven't I been doing this forever? And so that certainly that makes a ton of sense. And so, Nicole, you're a huge bike advocate in our community, and you encourage so many people in this community to get on their bikes and ride, and not only just ride their bikes, but also working on our infrastructure projects. You're very connected in terms of working with the city, working with the county. And so, what would you say? Why is it important to encourage other people to ride bikes?
I think you kind of tapped into it last, the joys and that health benefits and all those benefits of what it really brings to you. It's not really that we believe that riding a bike for transportation is feasible in San Diego. We hear a lot of people, they say, oh, I came to San Diego, I had to buy a car. And I want to show and inspire others that you don't actually have to have a car to live in San Diego and move everywhere in San Diego by a bike. And as poor as our infrastructure, or as better as our infrastructure could be, it's not the worst in the regions and places that I've traveled to. And there are shortcuts. There's places to travel that you start to learn your neighborhood and safer facilities, and you realize there's connected networks throughout our region. There are gaps that are dangerous, but really I don't have to be on those dangerous corridors with those fast traffic in all my places that I ride. There are some amazing places to ride, and we have an amazing city and everything. I honestly believe that a lot of times I can beat that car trip. I can get to Liberty Station faster than a car and park closer to my facility. And so it's really just all the benefits, and I want others to see. And so anybody on this live stream that's listening, know that like I said, I love a reason to ride. So find me, connect with me. I'm on Twitter, probably is my most social platform, but I'll take an excuse to ride and show you where to ride in your neighborhood and inspire others. So it's just, a wonderful thing for others.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a car-free cyclist here in San Diego, and I think that what I hear a lot from community members, or maybe even people outside of San Diego, is the biggest misconception is you move here and you need a car. I mean, there are places, if you live outside of the city, maybe you live in a more rural part of the county, that I can maybe understand that. But if you live in the center part of town, if you live near downtown or in the mid-city area, Ocean Beach, Point Loma, the western parts of town, you really don't necessarily need a car. You can get around. And I mean, not only just that, but if you go further south, you have some amazing bike paths. You have the Choice Creek bike path, which we're really hoping to come along soon. We also have Bayshore Bikeway. There's a ton of different ways to get around San Diego using a bike. But also, we have a great public transit system that can really supplement your bike riding. And so you can really get anywhere in San Diego if you combine the two together. And when we see, as we see more and more people here in San Diego adopting bikes, you and I were just in a meeting where we heard that there's been an explosion of bike ridership in San Diego County. And so when we're talking about being advocates and being in this space, what would you say to somebody who, says, I feel like I absolutely need a car to get around, and I don't feel safe riding a bike? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, so the challenging rides are kind of what I actually like. Tell me what that challenging ride. You just said it right there. The transit connections is the connection, the synergy that we need. There are places all throughout the county that we can go if we learn to use that transit. I think it's worth just exploring and understanding their fears, I think, is important. And I have to put myself back into those places, there are dangers on our road, right? There are dangers in society, though, and I look out in our beautiful sunshine and we're faced with climate reality. And so what is more dangerous to me than the joys that it can bring? So I have to overcome those joys that it can bring. And I guess what I want to say is that the more people that we get out on bikes, the safer we will all be. So just like that bike train explosion, right? And the e-bike revolution, we can really, if we are out there in numbers, the drivers are going to expect to see us, and ultimately our infrastructure is going to improve because we get more people advocating for that safe infrastructure, and our priorities become centered around people and moving people and living more in our communities local, rather than just let's get in our car and get us, to point A and point B. Exploring and making one of my favorite little mottos is make your commute the best part of your day. And how can you do that? And so we're here, the Bike Coalition, I know, and Bike SD and other advocates around the region are here. Bike ambassadors are in every neighborhood, and we have people in every neighborhood that are riding. So find that buddy and start small. It really started small for me in my local neighborhoods, making those couple mile trips and learning the different facilities and learning to just navigate your own streets and your own roadways is what's critical. And I think anybody can do it if they want to.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think when I first started riding, I've been riding a bike here in San Diego for a very long time. But when I first started riding a bike, it was, you do feel a bit nervous. Sometimes you get on a street that may not be as set up for bicycles as it is for cars. And I know that's something that you and I work on a lot. But something that I'm really curious about is, knowing what you know now, after being a bike advocate for this long, what do you wish people had told you or had done to encourage you beforehand? So let's go back to you being a new rider. What do you wish that somebody had said to you or helped you with that we as bike advocates should know moving forward?
I didn't see that one question. So that's a tough one, because I was literally like just using my bike as a form of transportation to really keep me moving. Would I have appreciated better connectivity to some of the organizations, what their work they were doing, and how to move that political agenda? I think in the last decade, we have definitely seen new leadership in San Diego, and it's great to have the advocates at the table and understand that a livable community involves people walking, biking, taking transit, and that we can get out of this. We can get out of the dependency of cars, and knowing that we don't have to be tied down to those. So yeah, I was kind of like, I will say the bike train was something that, as I went to a lot of safe routes to schools, workshops, and, wanting to replicate something like that, one thing I will say is I couldn't let liability be an obstacle. A lot of times the agencies and institutions wanted to like reestablish those kind of bike trains. But as an individual community member riding with my kids, I could do it, not have to worry about liability. And that's something that, how do we overcome some of those fears of liability and risks, and knowing that we need to do this for the future, for our future generations, because leaving a healthy planet and living a healthy lifestyle is really that main goal of why I continue to advocate.
Awesome. Well, before we end this stream, I just want to remind anybody who's watching live that you can feel free to ask a question in the comments, and we can respond. And if you're watching a recording of this, somebody will get back to your comment, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or wherever else this may be posted. But Nicole, thank you so much. This has been a really great conversation. Before we end, could you maybe tell me, like, what's your favorite place to ride in San Diego? What's the best place?
Well, thank you first, Jacob, for this opportunity to chat with you along this live stream, and thanks for all of you that are watching. I love to ride, like I say, near and far. I love to ride in my hometown, OB Point Loma. I have the most amazing, beautiful bikeway. All of us residents in San Diego, from OB to Beach, inland for a few miles along the river, and that's just such a beauty, the San Diego River. And it's really great to see Supervisor Nathan Fletcher advocating for that river, all the way, San Diego River, all the way to Julian. And, as you mentioned, Choyas Creek then becomes, that kind of project that could be an amazing linear park through those communities. And so I guess I would say my favorite places to ride are along our watersheds, along our creeks, along our ocean, along our waterfronts. We have an amazing amount of water in our city, and if we kind of expand our mobility concept and our mobility vision along our waterways, I think we could connect every city in San Diego region through our watersheds and really be able to have, slide down our, without a huge grades and huge hills, we can, access some of those most beautiful places in the region.
Absolutely. I think something that made a lot of people, I didn't know this until actually I met you, is that we do have a lot of water, not just the Pacific Ocean, but in the eastern parts of the county and some parts of the county that I wouldn't think of having water. But if anybody that's watching is maybe a little bit confused about the project that Nicole mentioned about our county supervisor Nathan Fletcher, there's a planned 50-mile bike. Would you say it's bike trail going from Julian all the way to the ocean? Is that correct?
That is correct. 52 miles. Yes. So it's exciting to see that one. The San Diego River Foundation has been a leader in that effort. And so it's great to see the piecework coming together and to create that. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, I just saw that we had a question from the audience. Are you okay with taking a question?
Yeah, love to.
It's a great question from Kevin. Kevin asks, what is your favorite discovery that you've made on a bike and made when riding a bike? And I got to say, I have loved the best part of being on a bike is just making those little discoveries, finding parts of a neighborhood that you may have driven through before. And you don't realize how amazing it is, what sort of community exists there. So what would you say is your favorite discovery made?
Ooh, there's so many, like you say, finding those little shortcuts to the community, seeing those neighborhoods. But there is, that discovery of finding the new pathways. There are also different things that you find on a bike. I was going to say my senses, learning to use the smells, discovering the smells. You can go from marshmallows on a fire pit to sewer. Yeah, but like it is like an amazing amount of senses you can explore when you're riding a bike. But I've also found little charms as well. I've found a foldable bike that I decided, it said take me home. So that was, and I've seen kids find money on the ground. That's always fabulous. So you can find things and see things that you just will never see in a car. So Great question. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah. Absolutely. I would say that the best discovery I ever made is I was riding my bike in downtown once on 15th Street, and I discovered there's an old barn behind some of these really brand new buildings on 15th Street. And I've driven by it probably dozens of times. And but when you're riding a bike, you're right. You're a lot more connected to the community, and you just get to discover all of these really great things.
Just a real quick follow-up on Kevin's question. I think my favorite thing discover always is finding my friends on the path. So wherever they are in the city and the region. So it's always great to see Sylvie, Kevin, other bike riders and other friends that are out there exploring the paths.
Absolutely. It's and something that I actually never knew that it happened beforehand was when you have an issue on your bike here in San Diego, and you stop, you pull off on the side of the path to just check it out or see. I have been stopped so many times. Somebody has stopped usually and said, "Do you need help?" And that's, it's just the discovery of the community that's around biking here in San Diego. Just such an amazing community. And we're really fortunate to have you as part of this community, Nicole. And so thank you so much for taking the time to be on this live stream and do this interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jacob. And just for those listeners, just to get out there, enjoy it, and you know where to reach us if you need that support. So thank you for having me.
Thanks so much. So this concludes Encourager Month for this Bicycle Coalition. Next month is a huge month for bikes in San Diego. It's Bike Month in San Diego. I know, Nicole, you're really looking forward to it. We have a ton of great content planned. We have our kickoff is on May 1st, I believe at 5 p.m., where we have Mayor Todd Gloria as our keynote speaker. So be on the lookout for that. If you're subscribed to our YouTube channel or our Facebook page, you should be able to get a notification when that goes live. And if you're watching this and you're wondering, well, what's the San Diego County Bicycle Coalition? Please feel free to join our pages, like our pages on Facebook. We're also on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, and become a member. It's free. So thanks so much, Nicole. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.